Hello everyone. So I wanted to make a video about anxiety and tinnitus because the two often go together. And I don't know if any of you are like me, but I certainly have had my share of anxiety in life. Uh, I think probably for a long time I had anxiety worse than the average person. And then when COVID hit and a couple of my friends died and my mother almost died and some other things happening all at once, and then I got COVID, I had severe anxiety and I got tinnitus at the same time. So it was quite a ride in 2021. So I think it's important to recognize the correlation between anxiety and tinnitus. And like, even though I know I'm a lot better than I was before, even before tinnitus, uh, my anxiety is a lot better because I understand it better because I had such a challenge in 2021. So let's talk about anxiety and tinnitus. First of all, one definition I would give for anxiety is where you're thinking about something or thinking about stuff and you just can't stop thinking about it. And it's usually something that you feel uncomfortable about, like tinnitus. But it also could be something about your finances or about your relationships with other people or about your job and how someone's treating you. It could be some health problem where you're just worried about it and you think about it a lot, and arguably you think about it too much. So it's important to first recognize that you might have that pattern because then you might be able to fix it. With tinnitus, it's especially difficult, and that's why we have a lot of people who need help. And I'm here to do that, and I don't make any money doing this. So when you first get tinnitus, you have this new sound that has come about, and it seems like it would be incredibly hard not to notice it. And maybe perhaps that your case is worse than most, or at least we tend to jump to those conclusions because of our anxiety. And I too also came to that conclusion where I felt like it would just be impossible to ever reach a state where I was not thinking about this sound because it's so loud and it's so there all the time and I can't make it go away. And the thought pattern of thinking about how bad it is and how it's impossible to make it go away is the exact thing that creates the anxiety that makes the sound perception even worse and gets you in this state where you can't stop thinking about it. So it's kind of like this really difficult catch-22 that you're trying to get out of, and it seems impossible. And I think if you were to talk to a lot of people who had a big problem with tinnitus before, they would tell you they had the exact same experience. So if you're having that experience now, welcome to the club. But I laugh because I think there's a really good chance that you can get so much better, and maybe even better than before you had tinnitus, believe it or not, because you have seen anxiety at its among its worst, and then you have found a way to cope with it, because anxiety is that very thing. Anxiety is thinking about something and not being able to stop thinking about it. So our goal, at least on my channel, my goal to help you with, there's a lot of doctor things that I can't probably help you with so well, but my goal on this channel is to help you not think about it so much and reach a point where you actually get good at not thinking about things that you don't want to think about. And maybe it might not only be the tinnitus, but you'll get better at not thinking about things that make you anxious. So probably the first thing you have to do when you have some kind of a fear is understand more about that fear. That's the first step. It doesn't necessarily solve the fear right off, at the start, but it's the first step. So when you have a fear that this sound is going to be there for the rest of your life and it's never going to go away and you can't deal with it and it's so loud and you can't sleep, this fear, we need to first do things like go to the doctor and ask them, is this going to kill me? Is this going to cause me to have some kind of a disease? Do I have a severe problem that's going to cause me to lose my hearing, for example? Go to the doctor and make sure that maybe you've already done that and they've told you, but if you're not sure, let's be sure about it. Let's be sure that you have nothing to fear in that sense. Because chances are super, super, super high that you have nothing to fear in the sense that you're going to die or you have some severe disease. There are some forms of especially pulsative tinnitus, where there's some kind of a little blood vessel in there and you can hear boom, 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 boom noise, and it could be. But even then, it's not that likely. But that sort of thing could be more likely to be some kind of a more severe problem. And in that case, you could head right on over to the emergency room and you can know in a couple of hours, because they're trained to check you for these kind of things. It's their job on the line. So after you go and the doctor tells you that, hey, I've checked everything, you're not about to die. That's at least a little bit better feeling, I'm not saying it really helps you that much, but it helps you to know that, hey, look, this is a sound, I don't like it, but it's not going to do severe harm in the sense that my health is at risk, that my life is at risk. You don't have that. So the next thing that we want to do is realize that we have this repetitive thinking and it's a cycle that's hard to break out of, but it can be done. And acknowledge that. And then we have to start teaching ourselves, and it can be a little bit of a lengthy process, to not think about it. Trying to not think about it is often the very thing that makes it hard to not think about it. So we have to think about something that's kind of like a neutral thing that has nothing to do with trying to not think about it, but more just getting your brain on something else. So probably the first thing, after making sure you're going to be safe, is getting some background noise. For me, it was the sound of the shower, because it was a similar sound to my tinnitus. I can't make the same sound, but something like that, like a shower, and that would help mask it. Also, just finding some places you can go that are perhaps have some noises, some varying noises in the background, rather than just sitting there hanging out in a quiet room and saying thinking how terrible it is. Then not thinking about it means thinking about something else. So we have to start the process of learning to think about other things. I know that when I'm having anxiety, often the problem is I'm thinking about something over and over again. I'll tell you right now about a problem I have right now. I pulled a muscle in my back, and it sent me into a bad mood. And to make things a little bit worse, it sort of radiates around the front over to somewhere near my heart. And that's the kind of thing maybe where you'll be like, whoa, 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 I think there might be something wrong with my heart. I've had this before. I know it's the muscle. I could go to the doctor, but it's like one of those things where, oh my God, I got this pain. I can't seem to shake it. And then, can be in a bad mood because of that. So anyways, it's not going to do me any good going over this pain and thinking about how bad it is, right? So today I did some work. I worked on a website and I got busy thinking about that, and that was good. But other things we can do when we're really bad state where we can't stop. I did things like play solitaire and play chess online. Just anything where you've got to get the brain thinking about something else. A timed chess game where you've only got 3 minutes to either win or lose. You can play over and over again until you either win or lose, and then play the next game and the next game. I wouldn't recommend playing games online all day, but it's just something you can have the background noise and play that, and maybe it'll get you can tease your brain out of thinking about the tinnitus for a minute or, some short length of time. And then you can look back and say, oh, wait a second. I actually didn't think about it for 30 seconds. And it's a small win. You're not there yet, but it's a small win. And then from there, you're going to start picking up some other things. Like I love learning a language. It could be drawing, singing songs. And I know these things be like, oh, I don't want to do that. Yes, you do. It's going to be good for your brain, not just from tinnitus, but just from the standpoint of personal development. And it'll be a heck of a lot better than sitting there and thinking about the sound all the time. So developing some things that you can do with your brain to keep it busy doing something where it feels like, I'm talking to your brain like it's your little friend, and it's your brain is actually getting better at something. Oh, I can speak more words in this language. Oh, I drew this drawing. It wasn't that good, but it's better than the last drawing. Oh, let me draw another drawing. Let me study some tutorial online and learn how to draw Mickey Mouse, whatever, right? But it's better than sitting there thinking about what you've been thinking about, yeah? So I have come to recognize that when I'm having some anxiety about something, that's exactly what I need to do. Just find something that I can focus on and really get busy with that. And then my brain's going to be like, oh, wow, you did something good. You improved in some way. You got some task done. You drew Mickey Mouse. Congratulations. You see what I'm doing there. And your brain starts to change. It starts to learn to focus on some other things besides the tinnitus. Another one is reading a book. Like I can remember where that just sound was always there. And I'm like, no, I'm going to read each word one by one, going through the book. And I might even sound it off and say the word as I'm reading the book, but I'm going to focus as best as I can on reading this book. Even if I don't even understand what I remember I would read a whole page and I'd be like, what did I just read? Well, it's better to do this than think about the sound. And I just read and read and read. And I was actually able to notice that as time went on, or even from the time I started reading to having been reading for 10 or 15 minutes, I was actually understanding and remembering what I read better than when I started. So you can sometimes see the transformation right before your very eyes when you're reading a book. You're such in a state, you're thinking about the tinnitus, and you say, no, I'm reading. And you get better and better, and you start, I actually read whatever, a whole chapter of Harry Potter, and I basically know what it was about. And that's a lot better than I just spent 15 minutes or half an hour or however long it was worrying about my tinnitus and not being able to do anything about it, yeah? So I think I've gone over 13 minutes here. So I haven't made such a long video in a while. Sometimes my good videos are right after I had some anxiety. So it's a little bit healing for me too. But I've gotten a lot better, I think everybody gets some anxiety sometimes. And I've got this pain still, and I know it'll go away, but it's frustrating sometimes when you have something like that. So, okay, I'll talk to you on the next video, and I hope you'll do better and better. See you.